Greetings collectors and welcome to today's episode. Today I'm taking a look back at a game from Sega Saturn's library that divided opinion since its release back in 1995. Is Battle Monsters as bad as the reviews would have us believe, or a hidden gem of the system? It's time to find out. So, it's fair to say that in the mid-90s many systems had their fair share of games of dubious quality. Fighting games such as Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct had paved the way for not only a new taste for on-screen blood and gore, but also for the trend in digitised sprites. Battle Monsters followed in this trend to create something of a mixed bag. The game allows you to play as one of 12 characters with the aim of fighting your way through the roster of other monsters to claim the Dark Throne, in order to become the ruler of the Dark Domain. From the outset, you'll notice the wide variety of playable characters. The 12 all have interesting designs and really revel in the fact that this game is a little bit different to previous fighting games presented in a similar style. So, as I mentioned, there's a varied cast of monsters to choose from. We have Makayudu, this strange gauntlet character, Strawberry Jam, the troll, Chili and Pepper, Heart Heat Han, the headless monster, Lapa, the dancer, Kiba, the monster, Kuja, the griffin-type creature, Death Mask, the Frankenstein's monster ripoff, Kafka, the wizard, Naga, the gorgon, Albiole, the wizard, and Shion, the ninja. For this playthrough I've chosen to be the twins, as they have a cheap exploit to defeat the endgame bosses. As soon as you begin fighting, you will immediately notice a few issues. Some enemies are much more difficult than others, and there's a tendency to want to button mash to get through the rounds. At times it can be difficult to identify exactly where the enemy hitboxes are to land your attacks. A regular criticism commented on is that the graphics of this game are quite ugly. Personally, I'm not sure whether they look much worse than other games with a similar style. It's true that there are frame rate issues here, and the sprites can be a little jaggy around the edges. However, the action is generally fast enough for you not to notice this as a player. There are a lot of good elements in the gameplay though. Multi-level platforms, animated backgrounds, destructible scenery, special moves, combos, and a pit move reminiscent of Mortal Kombat. The game also makes a nod to Samurai Showdown's presentation by zooming in and out as your characters move further apart. All of the elements of a classic fighting game are in here, so why so much negativity towards this game? The negativity seems to come from the general view of the presentation, but more importantly the shallow gameplay. Personally I find the graphics argument a bit of a non-starter. Sure, it's a bit messy, but it's really not as bad as some of the critics make out. The gameplay issue, however, is an issue when it comes to depth. No matter how you look at this one, the game does almost always turn into a button mashing exercise. Typically you can learn a couple of moves and breeze through the whole game in no time. For my 2 cents though, I have to say that the button mashing nature of the game didn't really put me off this game either. For a short burst of monster bashing action, this game is perfectly serviceable. If you're looking for a King of Fighters style tactical fighting game though, you'll have to look elsewhere. Battle Monsters also has a mixed review when it comes to the physical presentation. Here in the UK we received this cover, and this is very similar to the US artwork. Overall, nothing to complain about. However, I'm playing the original Japanese release though, and here's the front cover they received. I'm really not sure how to describe this cover. At best it just looks a bit amateur, especially as the rear of the case has far better artwork. The game comes in a standard CD jewel case with manual. Other than the front cover, the artwork inside the manual is excellent, and gives clear and simple move sets for each of the characters. Each regional release is essentially the same. The differences are in the box art, in-game language, and also a few character names have been changed from the original Japanese release. Overall though, the experience is very much the same. As I mentioned earlier, the game is not particularly challenging as you fight your way to the final boss, or I should say final bosses: Salamander, Leviathan, Genie and Behemoth. All 4 bosses are straightforward palette swaps, but will provide you more of a challenge than the regular in-game characters. On defeating the bosses, you finally take the Dark Throne in this bizarre endgame scene. Every time I see this, I can't help but think this looks like a crazy Japanese gothic advert for McDonald's. I don't know what they were thinking. So you're probably thinking, why am I showing this game to you today? Well, it's the collecting price of the game that makes it so attractive for collectors. You can pick up the Japanese version of this game for just 300 yen. That's around £2 in the UK, and near the $3 mark in the US. Other regional releases of the game vary up to £15 in the UK and around $20 in the US, so there's no real reason not to go for the original Japanese release, unless you really have an objection to the cover art. My overall feeling of this game is that it's a game that some people may have jumped on unfairly in terms of criticism. Is it a classic fighting game? No. Is it an oddity that you can play with friends for some quick arcade action? Most definitely. At the time, Battle Monsters was well enough received to warrant a sequel on the PS1 called Killing Zone. I won't be visiting Killing Zone today, but I can confirm that that really truly is an awful game. For the super low entry price, I'm pleased to have Battle Monsters in my collection. It's best summed up by slightly mindless violence with a monster theme. The game is definitely one of my guilty pleasures. It's likely that Battle Monsters will continue to divide opinion amongst gamers. What do you think though? Is Battle Monsters a hidden gem or a forgotten failure? Let me know in the comments. Hello again, and I hope you enjoyed today's show, and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe, and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!